Good morning, everyone. I see that from yesterday party we have some losses in the audience, so there are more free spaces than yesterday. So everybody standing up there. You have lots of space here in the front, so please come up and take a seat. Welcome to the day 2 of the Dewesoft Measurement Conference, and as every day we start with the weather forecast. The weather forecast today is, cold. So again, it's a perfect weather for the conference. So please enjoy the sessions. This is actually the picture from my backyard in the morning. It's really crazy for this time of the year. Today we will focus on the OBSIDIAN, on openDAQ, and Automotive. We will start again with the sessions. I think everybody is aware. Yesterday you have seen that the lunch is quite busy, so later in the day there are more free spaces than immediately. Maybe you can choose the 1 p.m. Lunch break, which is more free. Then after 3 sessions, we will go to a soccer match. And I was really amazed. I thought, let's try to organize a soccer match and we'll see how many people would apply. I thought there would be 10, 20 people, but 80 participants apply for the soccer match. So I think it will be a great event. A disclaimer from yesterday, because of the questions, we will not run out of beer and we will also have something to eat. It's again on the same place, 3 Lilije Laško, you know that from yesterday already. For the players, we should have fun, it's a fun game, so please focus on the ball, not on the other player, not that the people will not get hurt. The bus schedules are similar to yesterday. We will have also the buses to the 3 Lilije for the soccer match, and then going back to Rimske Terme, and then to Europa Hotel and Grof. The taxi services, of course, still available, and Dewesoft OBSIDAN van was not used much yesterday, but it came handy, so today is still available, of course. The hotline contact stays the same for everybody who needs to have information. We have also the special offer from our French team, and this is free ticket to Paris. They came with the airplane, so they have 20 seats free from Maribor on Friday. So if anybody wants to join them, I think it will be a very nice flight. The only problem is, which can be solved, of course, that it's only one way. So you need to reserve your trip back. We will start with the OBSIDIAN, and we have another special offer. And this is, for the series, we made a small set of the Lego bricks. So if anybody is interested or has children who are really keen on the Lego bricks, there are, I think, around 100 sets outside of the new OBSIDIAN. So feel free to take them. And now, David, please present what is new on the OBSIDIAN.
Can I get the Lego set? Yes. Okay, hello. I will start with a simple question. What are the main interests of Dewesoft? Which areas? First one is probably simple, data acquisition, but there are also others. We are interested in signal processing, real-time, and now lately also in data logging. So here we wanted to create a product which would cover all these areas, and this is how actually the idea for the OBSIDIAN was born. No sound. There should be really cool music here, but I guess it did not work. Okay. Okay, and you can buy these OBSIDIANs today. They come in different forms depending on the size you wish to have, or if you want to have a rugged version or not. But I will try to explain you why this product is really cool. So who here has iOLite or has already used the iOLites? Please raise the hand. Quite a lot of you. Okay. So if you have iOLite, you can put it inside OBSIDIAN rack and it will work. You will get OBSIDIAN system. Actually, it gets even better. If you have, for example, iOLite R12 rack, you just need to put out the iOLite gate and replace it with the OBSIDIAN. And again, you get OBSIDIAN system. Quite nice and easy, I think. All of our OBSIDIANs come with DewesoftM RT. This is our embedded software, same as DewesoftX. X. All the upgrades here are free. On this picture, you see our dark room. Here we do our automatic tests. So for example, when the new firmware is created, we compile it, we put it on the device, and then we run the automatic sequences. Currently, we have more than 1,000 different test sequences which cover amplifier tests and OBSIDIAN-specific function. Additionally, we have added a long-term test. And this you must imagine as an OBSIDIAN which runs 24/7 for weeks or months. And then we check if there are some memory leaks or maybe if there's some long-term stability issue. And we'll keep adding the test in order to improve stability over the time, so it gets better and better. Okay, now if we check how it looks inside OBSIDIAN, we have a strong AM57 Citaro processor. And actually on this chip, we have a DewesoftM RT running. And this combination allows you to have a truly standalone solution. Now, why is this scalable? Imagine that you have 100 OBSIDIANs. Actually, you have 100 different computers. And each of these computers can do storing, triggering, decoding, and even some simple calculation on its own. You don't need to send all the data to the computer, some central computer, and do calculation there. And you can connect this device to the outside world through the Ethernet connection. And actually, this device really is interconnected. Your first thought probably was, when I showed the Ethernet connection, does it have a Wi-Fi? Yes, it does. And we also got a nice feedback from the automotive industry. They wish to have a GPS, so we added the GPS module here. At the bottom, you will notice we have Ethercat connectors. You can connect OBSIDIAN to the external Ethercat masters, such as MTS, TwinCat, Acontis, and a lot of other external masters. And if you do this, you get what? You get a real-time system. And you know how I mentioned that you can connect these devices to the outside world? Here we actually used a standard OPC UA, and soon openDAQ, but more about this later. This allows you to have a device which is truly Industry 4.0 ready. And actually, we're already using this today. This is how DewesoftX and DewesoftM, our mobile application, connect to the OBSIDIAN today. And Eva will now show you a quick demo of our mobile application.
Hello, everybody. Yes, here we have an OBSIDIAN device, which is already ready for the usage. I have one load cell connected to it in the shape of this tuck toy, and also some temperature sensors. And actually, the OBSIDIAN device is not connected to the PC, so we will show the signals over the tablet, as David mentioned. But before, I also have an analog output module where I link my force signal to it, and the output is connected to the microcontroller on this LED stripe. So we also will see how much force that David will.
Oh man, I'm just a software guy.
And the device is also connected. Well, the storing model is also prepared, and the trigger is also related to the force sensor. So now, if you see here. Thank you, David.
Okay, what do you see here? These are kryptons. So who here has kryptons? Also some people. Okay, what are they famous for? they are really rugged. So they survive from -40 to 85 degrees Celsius. Yes, I know we have some American friends here. What is the Celsius? For you, I will calculate it to Fahrenheit. It's actually, the calculation is really, really simple. You just only have to add one number. You can check if you don't believe me. It's true. And also, yeah, kryptons are famous because they have IP67 rating, and they survive up to 75 G of shock and vibration. So what is the logical question here now? Can we do the same with OBSIDIAN? Hardware guys, can we do it? The hotel director will, yeah. We did not practice this before, so I was also really nervous for this. Okay, and at the end, we really want to make OBSIDIAN future-proof. And here, our bet is on openDAQ. How and why will be explained by my good colleague, Sasha.
David, thank you. You have the remote switch. Thank you. Hello, welcome everyone. In order to explain why OBSIDIAN is a future-proof device, let's go a bit back in time. Jure, did you again put the Star Wars slides? Sorry. Yeah, in the year 2000, we released our first software product. It was called DewesoftM 5 at the time. Now we call it DewesoftM X, but we are still building on the same code base. It's still the same application, and at this time, this is the main application which connects to all our devices. Now, in 2020, something happened that changed the things. Can someone maybe help me? What was in 2020? Corona. It's a close answer. And yeah, while most of the people remember 2020 by the shortage of toilet paper, in Dewesoft, we remember it by working really hard to release Sirius XHS. And Sirius XHS might look the same as other devices on the outside, but inside it has a really strong FPGA with multi-core ARM processor. And this allows us to run Linux on it, and this changes the whole story. So that's why we built DewesoftM RT, which is our embedded software. And this software runs on all devices. So it runs on XHS Power, runs on OBSIDIAN, and on the new X line. Last year, we released our third software application. This one is DewesoftM. Eva showed it before. Now, DewesoftM runs on iOS and on Android. Now, if you listen carefully, we covered more or less all mainstream operating systems. And 2024, we say, is the year of openDAQ. And it's a logical question now. Is openDAQ maybe our new standalone application? Well, the answer is no. openDAQ is a backend. It's a toolkit, toolbox. So imagine openDAQ has some invisible glue that binds our whole ecosystem together. We put more than 20 years of experience of creating data acquisition software and hardware, and we put all this into openDAQ to make it really versatile. So it supports all kinds of devices, from analog inputs, digital inputs, cameras, buses, you name it. It supports all kinds of signal types, sampling types. It's really high performance, so it can split processing into multiple cores. It can distribute its power. it's ready for really high sampling rates, or on the other side for really high channel counts. And really importantly for us, it speaks many languages. So it can speak many protocols from all the standard protocols that industry is already using. And it speaks also many languages in terms of programming languages. Well, all our software applications are written in different programming languages, so we need it. And it's cross-platform, so it can run on all operating systems. And in 2024, openDAQ is coming as a free upgrade for all 3 platforms. Now, this means that X, RT, and M will be better in connectivity, so they will be able to connect to all openDAQ devices, openDAQ applications, and they will all be able to run the same processing blocks. Now, maybe it's best if Andras, my colleague here, shows how this works in practice. So, Andras.
Thank you, Sasha. Hi from me. Thank you. So yeah, this is the first time in history that we have the possibility to use DeweSoft devices like Series XHS with one client, which is basically openDAQ, open source client downloaded from the openDAQ web page. So we can see we have the system here running Series XHS with the firmware built on top of the openDAQ, and we're reading 2 signals from the RC car. We can see the voltage and the current signals here. Of course, in meantime, simultaneously we have in the background running DeweSoft, basically getting the same 2 signals here and reading them in synchronized way. Yeah. So what we achieved, what is important to know here is that all the clients connected, for example, for this openDAQ client or DeweSoft X client or DeweSoft mobile client, all are completely in sync. So if we can check here on the first channel, we didn't enable the low pass filter. We can enable it from any client, and this is quickly shown also in the DeweSoft. So we can go into the measure and check we are actually receiving the same signals simultaneously. What we also received with these new generation devices is the device configuration view. What we have here is actually everything what is available on the device itself. So, for example, we can add different processing models like power, scaling, or filtering. And for this example, we will add a simple formula. So we will type channel U. It's hard with one hand.
I can grab your mic.
Yeah. So we can type simple formula, and this will automatically generate another signal on the device, which will be calculated and can be used then on DeweSoft. So we can see it here, and that's not all. Again, because this is running on the device itself, we can also go back to the openDAQ client and connect the same signal to another client. Yeah, again on all clients. Thank you.
Thank you, Drak. Yeah, you can switch back to the slides. Thanks. Yeah. So what we learned here, what we showed, this is the slide that we are showing already yesterday. So yeah, thanks. So we have openDAQ running on the RT on the device. Up we have 2 applications running simultaneously. So at the same time, configuration and streaming. And it was running on XHS at the moment. It could run the same piece of software on all of those devices. So yeah, and what you also saw are these function blocks that we have on the device. So we can do processing on the device. But openDAQ is not just DeweSoft. It's much more than this. We released it as open source. We made it together with our friends from HBK. And yeah, I would like to invite Sonja Schmutz, General Manager of Blueberry, to say a few words.
Thank you, Sasha. You heard the word openDAQ a lot these days, did you? So, but do you know how it all started? Well, the story goes, when Jure and CTO of HBK at that time, Jens Wiegen, started discussing what are the main pain points in the test and measurement industry, they sort of figured out that that is how to seamlessly and effortlessly get data from different devices. Any one of you have the same problem? Okay, I hear some nodding of the heads. So they figured out what would happen if we could solve that problem. And they started sprinkling the magic over that idea. And so after some collaboration and tests, this was born. I went in the wrong direction. So the new joint venture called, you remember what they drank? Blueberry Schnapps. So the joint venture name became Blueberry. But since we met and encountered BlackBerry, you remember BlackBerry? They're still alive. At least they are a lawyer's department. So we decided to rename our company to openDAQ this year. So what is openDAQ's mission? As I said, we want to help you to discover, stream, and configure data as effortlessly as possible. And therefore, a tool was created that is embracing different major standards in the industry. And how can we do that? Well, for now, the community comes from two companies, Dewesoft and HBK, but pretty soon we want to open it to everybody. We want a strong collaboration because the knowledge is dispersed, and when we can make it joint, then it really brings something new. So you can soon expect a new website. You can already now go to GitHub and get the library of openDAQ in there, but we want also to open the forum, working groups, and that will follow soon. And we have based our community on 5 principles. The first is that this really has to be an open and collaborative environment. It is based on open source with Apache 2.0 license. We also want to stress that anybody who will contribute in different working groups, because when you will be sending requests what you need, and then the work group can emerge from that, whatever will be done there has to be publicly accessible. So we want everything to be open sourced. And nothing can happen if there is not a sincere collaboration of different people. And the point and the underlying mission of all of that is that we want to put a positive advancement in technological progress, and this is our way of doing it. Thank you.
I think this answer also needs to be answered. So which of our devices will be openDAQ compliant? So we showed this picture before, so DewesoftM RT running on all. So already today, with our new X line of instruments, openDAQ is running on those 2 devices and is available. On XHS Sirius and on XHS Power, it will be available in Q3, and OBSIDIAN is coming by the end of the year. And all this with just a free firmware upgrade. So it should be really seamless for you. You will just get new functionalities. And yeah, I see your faces right now. Probably this is your question, right? Because there are also other devices. So we did not forget about our classical line of instruments, and it's important to know we are not abandoning anything, and the new line is not a replacement for the classical line of instruments. So we still have Sirius, Krypton, iLight, DV43. As you all know, those are really seamlessly integrated into the DewesoftX. And before I mentioned that DewesoftX is getting an openDAQ upgrade by the end of 2024. So this practically means that DewesoftX can act as a gateway for those devices. So you can use exactly the same API with which you connect to natively supported openDAQ devices through the openDAQ to the classical line of instruments. And there are even more options. OBSIDIAN can directly connect Krypton and highlight line on itself, and also those devices become, so OBSIDIAN becomes a gateway for Kryptons and highlights. So again, to answer which devices will be openDAQ compatible, the answer is all. Thanks. Yeah. I asked Dave before how I should introduce him, and he says I talk about stuff. So, Dave.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I got to start this. Actually, I had all this planned out, and I'm going to change it at the last minute. The reason for that is because I've been involved in embedded data acquisition systems for over 40 years. So fundamentally, I've been waiting 4 years for this. So thank you. This is absolutely awesome. Anyway, talking of embedded systems, one of the things that I like to draw people's attention to is a big factor associated with test, and that is that there's a thing called the Hawthorne effect. I'm sure people have heard of that before. The Hawthorne effect is something that happens as a result of people observing testing. If you observe someone when they're producing or driving a vehicle, for example, they behave differently. The ability to be able to do a test without being observed changes everything. You're all familiar with quantum theory, yes? Everybody knows Schrodinger's cat. So Schrodinger's cat obviously is a perplexing situation for most people. That's the formula if you're not familiar with it. And it basically says that the observation of any test will influence the outcome of a test. And so I've always been a firm believer in the ability to run a system completely unattended. And the OBSIDIAN, obviously, which is the primary purpose or primary focus for me, is a system that's designed specifically to be unobserved. I mean, you basically fire and forget the system. In fact, at one point, one of the presentations I had, well, I had an animation of a rocket being launched from a shoulder launcher, and I thought that's probably inappropriate given the situation in the world at the moment, so I didn't put that one in. But unobserved testing actually changes the outcome. If you don't believe me, try it. You watch someone out on the proving ground. There's the Hawthorne effect, by the way. You watch someone out on the proving ground. If somebody's in the vehicle with them, or if they know that they've got a piece of instrumentation in their measuring, they will behave differently. Okay, they will behave differently. One of the things that a lot of the companies in the US, and you guys probably guessed that I'm from the US by the accent, but hence the Australian accent, but that's another story. But one of the things that we noticed with some of the big auto manufacturers is when they put clandestine systems into the vehicles and the vehicles are set out on the road, the results they get are different to what they get on the proving ground, and they couldn't figure out why. And it was obvious. You're watching them, they're driving differently, they're behaving differently. The guy is doing the turns slightly slower. When he's not being watched, he's off like a maniac. So if you put the microscope on him, unfortunately, he's going to behave differently. So the whole principle of these systems is you no longer need to be there. You basically press a button, you give it some conditional argument, and it goes away. And it basically, you get real data from it. And so I summarize that with this, that we have data collection, data reduction, profile creation. And we added a big variable into all of that, and that was the human variable. Things have changed. Well, obviously, with this, it uses a Linux kernel. So some of you guys may be old enough to remember this. Some of you guys probably aren't, but I can almost guarantee that some of you are old enough to remember that. Yeah, because that's the second level of the problem, okay? With Linux, well, you don't get it. When I first started in this industry, we were using QNX as the primary one. In fact, all the systems I work with, you always have to have a Windows machine to set it up. But QNX, you very, very, very rarely will see this. In fact, it's called a kernel panic. And I found this wonderful animation of a penguin falling over. And the thing I loved about this animation is the penguin just gets up and gets going again, which is exactly how Linux works. You don't have to restart things. The kernel doesn't actually get influenced typically by the event, so it just restarts it. So that's one of the advantages. And so I put this together just briefly to give you a little history of me. This was the very first ever digital data acquisition system. It was called the Datamite, and you guys can see the big capacitors in the back there. This system ran autonomously. It had a whole 4 channels, but it could record for months and months unattended. And then came along this 2000 series. So my background was I was with a company called Somat, And we kind of developed a lot of the embedded systems. And so I'm very, very happy to be with Dewesoft because they're basically doing the same thing again. It's back to my roots. So the evolution of these systems, part of the reason why these systems even existed was because of that good old Microsoft Windows issue where you got the blue screen of death. And Microsoft have done a pretty good job. It's pretty solid, it's pretty robust now. But it's definitely still a Linux environment that's going to be the more reliable environment. I'm sorry to be the bringer of bad news, but that's the way it is. The other thing I was going to talk about was some of the applications. Now, unfortunately, because the Obsidian is so new, we really don't have any pictures to show you of too many Obsidians actually in use. So what I thought I'd do with you is give you a little bit of my history, which is these are the systems. I was the product manager for this particular product, which ironically got bought by HBK. But nevertheless, this was the product, and this gives you an idea of the kind of use cases. So I'm going to go through these very quickly because I've been told I talk too much. So I'm just going to show you some of the pictures, and clearly in situations like that on the left-hand side, it probably wouldn't make sense for him to have a laptop in his, on his handlebars. So having a system that doesn't need that interaction is perfect. In fact, he's got the entire system in his backpack. It's similar to what the guys were showing us yesterday with a foldable bicycle. Harley Davidson, mounted on wheels. You don't really want a laptop hanging off of that. So this is where I see all of these devices going, and I'm so pleased that it's going across the entire line. Very pleased to see that. And of course, the important one, as I mentioned earlier, is on the right-hand side there, that you can actually see that it's buried in the dashboard. The operator had no idea that that system was in there. And the data they got from that was so invaluable because no matter what they did to try and recreate the situation, in the proving ground, in the test labs, they couldn't do it. When they recorded what the operator was doing on the road, they got a completely different set of results and identified the problem. So a couple more. Automotive, you can see on the top left-hand side, there's a myriad of channels on a typical automotive application. That particular one was from a Korean manufacturer. And I believe the total channel count on that one was actually 255, I think it was, or something like that. 240 analog signals, as well as CAN. And this is where I see the Obsidian. And the Obsidian will absolutely be able to do this. The only thing that I use to identify the Obsidian over this little device called the OBIDIAN is that the Obsidian is like the OBIDIAN, but someone gave it steroids because it's got far more power, computing capability and power than any of these ever had. So a few more pictures. You can see some of the applications. You will see Obsidians. You will see some of the newer systems going on to these kinds of applications. And so ultimately, with the ability to just dial into this using the Wi-Fi use and the mobile app and such, I see a great future for this, and I'm looking forward to being involved with it until hopefully, well, I don't die while I'm doing it, but I can actually see it to happen. I've waited 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Hello. So today's forum sessions are dedicated to automotive. So me and Martin would like to invite you on those. In automotive, we work with vehicle buses, road load data, and durability. We acquire powertrain data for internal combustion engines, electric vehicles, hybrids, and also we do navigation and ADAS data. And all of those top focus areas are related to forums. And industry experts will present how they use Dewesoft and what are they developing for the future. So, Martin.
So we will, good morning. So we will later on after this session split the room, and this will be the forum area like we had it yesterday for monitoring. And we will start with the most important is the backbone. It's the communication, the bus communication we all use. We need signals from the ECUs. And the whole story starts, of course, with the massive pressure in the automotive industry. We are shifting now the powertrain into electric. We want to have some autonomous driving features. And of course, price and cost reduction is a huge pressure on the industry. For all these questions, we will, of course, give you later on answers, but there's a big shift also in the communication, the bus communication on the car. And therefore, we are very happy, and I'm personally very happy that we have an expert here with us who will give us and teach us a little bit more about the future platforms and the future technology. And I just want to say thank you very much, Cold Korea, for being with us today and giving us the first opening session on the forum. And just to give you a sneak preview why this is really important for us, DeweSoft guys, is because we use always some little sources from the ECUs. And as you know, we have right now up to 70 ECUs in the car. We have 1 kilometer of copper connecting all the ECUs all together. It's getting heavy, it's getting complicated, but we have a problem with bandwidth. And all this leads us to the fact that all these different parts will move to a central computing system. And from there, we will change also the way how with DeweSoft we will communicate with our ECUs. And therefore also the cooperation with interpret control systems will give us answers how to get access to the automotive Ethernet and the whole communication on this.
Okay, then we go to one of our really almost the most important application is the low data acquisition for durability investigation. So here we start with the basics, with what we do best. We put accelerometers, strain gauges, displacement sensors on vehicle suspension. We also support wheel force transducers from Kistler or Michigan Scientific over standard interface or any other. And with the flexibility of DeweSoft, we can also acquire additional data from vehicle, buses, navigation, all in one data file. And the forum topic from Tony De Paolantonio from W5 Engineering will show how DeweSoft was used at Tesla from material to component tests, even solving some issues in production, and finally to full vehicle tests. Then we'll go to 2 dedicated forum sessions for powertrain. So internal combustion engine is still the only solution for certain applications. And the development is driven mostly by reduction of CO2 and pollution. This is done by increasing efficiency, exhaust gas treatment, and alternative fuels. And in last year, we did quite some updates in our combustion engine analyzer module. We improved safety when using alternative fuels. It is more flexible to use with dual fuel engines, and we improved workflow for large industrial engines for ships or power generators. And the next forum topic from Hans Schmidt is going to cover alternative fuels. Hans Schmidt from Karlsruhe Institute of Technology will explain the actual development of hydrogen combustion engine with combustion analysis. Then we go to electric.
Yes, and as we are all moving to electric and electric vehicles, I want to announce the special guests also from Mercedes-Benz, from Sindelfingen, Bernd and Marcel, who are with us in the forum and who will present also their vehicle. They came on there on a prototype car, which will be later on presented outside in the court. And altogether, to mention that together with Mercedes, we had the opportunity to prove that we have a new solution. And it was basically the making of the series XHS Power. And with all these strategies, we will walk you through the session in the forum session at 2 in the PM in the afternoon about the whole story in the ecosystem, what is needed for electric vehicle testing and getting the right sensors. And basically, Mercedes will present us the new ecosystem, which is based on a platform on a strong computing system from B+, which they have also a demonstrator, a car outside there, showing us a little bit more about precision and time precisionness. We do have our complete XHS line, and we do have also our new sensors. And this ecosystem together will also be presented with the ECU calibration. And here we are working strongly together with ETAS Bosch. Welcome to the session.
Okay, but we have combustion engine analyzer, we have power module, and with DeweSoft flexibility, we just add those two together, and we have a hybrid engine powertrain analyzer. And this relates to our last forum, which is going to be split in 2 parts. The first part will cover our show car. You've seen it outside. It's not actually an M3, it looks like it, but it's actually a 330e hybrid and serves as a presentation and test platform for our systems. this is going to be presented by Matthias Ternisha, and he'll do a live demo of hybrid engine measurement. So here's just a short overview of what we did from New Year to the measurement conference. It's really a work of whole company, from application engineers, especially Matthias, to accounting, management, production. Everyone was involved. And in the end, we have combustion analysis in it. We have power measurement, and also OBSIDIAN in it, so we can do, and it looks nice. And yeah, we go to our last focus area, navigation and ADAS. So last year was pretty good for that. We released Navion i2, the inertial navigation system, finally. And I also finally did the update of Polygon with the help of Gema from Maribor. So yeah, and this relates to the last topic. You can see there we have Rimac Nevera in one of the screens. And yeah, that's why we have a car there. Rimac was actually, happy to lend us a car for one day. And we have Daniel Mateo, who a vehicle test engineer, who drove yesterday with this car from Zagreb. We have it here for the whole day, and we are going to present what we did last year with Rimac. We were involved in their record-breaking campaign. We measured 23 records in Papenburg, so these are mostly acceleration, deceleration test records. And yeah, you can see we were measuring it using brake test, Navion, Polygon. Then we were involved in their Nürburgring record braking for the electric vehicle. You can see DeweSoft was used, and it was always the screen was transferred to the base. And in the end, we are also involved in the Guinness World Record for reverse drive. So this was the fun thing to do. Yeah. So yeah, this is the schedule, and yeah, we hope that we'll see you there.
Yeah, we will. So I hope it was enough to make you hot for the special sessions in the forum. I know they're in parallel the normal sessions. So whenever you have time for sneaking in one of these topics, we start at 10:15. It's going to be here, and we will have outside show cars. So I hope this is enough to motivate you to also join the Automotive Forum today. It's all day long, and it's also about to meet the experts. That means during the coffee breaks, the experts are available, and please have a talk, a one-to-one session. I'll be more than happy to welcome you to this morning on the sessions. Thank you very much.